What you saw yesterday was nothing more than Florida State getting exposed for who they really are. They're not one of the big boys in college football. But good gosh almighty, if I was a head coach and I had Florida State on my schedule, I would point to this film right here and say, yep, this is what we got to do. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, the best time of year is upon us. When it starts to get a little cooler outside, the sun starts setting a little bit earlier, pumpkin spice comes back, the leaves start changing, I get this warm and cozy feeling inside. When all that stuff starts to happen, and not to say that I don't like that, because come on now, who doesn't like a good pumpkin spice coffee? It tells me college football, it's here. It's the greatest time of the year, man, no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Another reason why I easily think this is the best sport known to mankind is because of what happened yesterday. For the people that get it, you get it. For the people that don't, you don't. College football is on our level. For example, I stumbled across this comment, and I assume it's someone who is watching the game that's from Ireland. Owen stated, first ever American football game done. Can't lie, that was a lot of fun and was very hooked into a tight game throughout. Atmosphere is fantastic. Americans are a wild bunch. Great to be around them. First things first, thank you to Owen for those kind words about our country. Shout out to America. Love my country. And secondly, to Owen, welcome to college football. And if you thought the Florida State and Georgia Tech game was crazy, nah, that's just the start of it. There's games like that every single week, and multiple ones at that. And oh yeah, by the way, in my comment section, what is this? So, hold on. Shout out to Parker. He wrote in all caps, "We are so back." And you're right, I appreciate that comment. Everybody knows once we start doing the reaction videos on the channel, yeah, college football, it's back, it's here. We have a great time doing that. But I was reading some of the replies to it, and what is this? Samuel said, F it, hashtag we be bald. What? Like, bro, why am I catching a stray here? What did that have to do with anything with the original comment? All the other comments were great, saying, I'm so happy college football's here. So happy to be a part of this community. Can't wait for the videos this year. Then you got Samuel just roasting me, hashtag we be bald. The sad part is, I thought that was the craziest comment, but then I stumbled across this. I saw Matt at the Diddy party yesterday? What is going on? Somebody said same, bro, and also I got it on video. DM me for proof. Whoa. Hold on, wait a minute. This is a good point. Katie fan said, how you know he was there if you wasn't there yourself? Hold on. Wait a minute, we might be onto something here. I saw Matt vaping at the Diddy function, so now it's the Diddy function. Quentin said, yeah, me and Diddy gave Matt a good old welcome. What? Nah, bro, pause, bro. Matt diddled me at the Diddy party. Alright, that's enough of the comment section. Well, I thought that was the last one, now I see this. And I'm genuinely asking, what is going on? Beware new subscribers, it's a trap. Matt stole my hairline. I apologize. I know there's a bunch of you watching right now saying, Matt, what in the crap are we talking about, man? Can we talk about some college football? And I'm right there with you. But you got to understand, this is my first time really looking at these comments, and I'm genuinely trying to figure out what in the world is going on. You got people saying Matt diddled me at the Diddy party. You know that one friend that scares the hoes away? Well, you guys, you're scaring the new subscribers away. Imagine a new person that hasn't even seen our videos. They look at the comment section. What do you think they're going to think? Anyways, let's lock in. Let's get down to business. We got to talk about the cinnamon rolls in Georgia Tech. Of course, I watched yesterday's game live, and then I gave you my reaction to the game, but when it was over, I rewatched it for today's video. If you're wondering why I rewatched the game, it's number one, so I can make this video, and number two, so I could look for certain things that I wasn't paying attention to when the game was going on. The first thing I want to touch on is I thought heading into this game that Florida State was going to bully Georgia Tech. And we talked about this in the reaction video yesterday. What wound up happening? No, it was the other way around. Georgia Tech bullied Florida State. And I'm just going to clap it up to Georgia Tech because you guys deserve all the props, all the kudos, and all the credit, respect in the world. Georgia Tech played their butts off, and they're much better than I think most people realize. Is Georgia Tech going to compete for a college football championship? Absolutely not, but they could easily win 9 or 10 games this year. Watch out. Well, I said 9 to 10 games. Probably need to correct that to about 7 to 10 games because low-key forgot they had one of the toughest schedules in the nation. When I went back and watched film, I was flabbergasted at how pitiful Florida State's defensive line was and the front seven was. I'm going to show you this screenshot. This is when Florida State was winning 8-0. Georgia Tech, they put in their special quarterback that does quarterback design runs. And look at the push. So here is the quarterback for Georgia Tech. He's already taken the snap, and he's about to run it in. He's at the 40-yard line. Do you see what these Florida State defenders are doing? Nothing. They're still in the end zone. A couple of the guys are engaged with the linemen, but they're getting pushed into the end zone, and the other guys are just kind of standing around. I singled out this play because it's a great representation of what happened out there in the game. They got zero penetration. The next thing I want to talk about is in the second quarter, Georgia Tech had a 14-play, 75-yard drive that lasted 8 minutes. This was to put them up 14-11 right before the half. You want to know what's really sad about that? Here's a fun fact for you. They ended that drive running the ball 8 straight plays. Wasn't anything flashy. It was that same formation they did all day long, and Florida State couldn't stop it. You'd have the wide receiver coming in motion on the jet sweep, and it was a read option for Haynes King and the running back. I can't get over that. 8 straight run plays. Georgia Tech. You couldn't stop them. So you see where I'm going with this, right? The defensive line was getting hyped up all throughout this season. Many people thought they were going to be really good. Well, from what I've seen so far, they're not even average. They're below average. Heck, with everything I presented to you up until this point, you could argue and say is one of their biggest weaknesses. How about late in the third quarter when they scored on the first play in the fourth quarter? Georgia Tech essentially did the same thing. They did sprinkle in some passes on that drive, and Haynes King had some very nice passes at that, but they still had no trouble running the ball whatsoever. The last 3 plays of that drive, 5-yard run by Chad Alexander, 21-yard run by Haynes King, and 2-yard run by Jamal Haynes. And the last drive of the game after Florida State tied it up, same thing. How did it end? The way it started. Georgia Tech just ran the ball. Florida State couldn't stop them. They almost screwed it up at the end, but they got back in the field goal position and kicked the game winner. When it was all said and done, this is including sacks, by the way, Georgia Tech averaged 5.3 yards per carry, had 190 rushing yards with 3 touchdowns. There's not a nice way to put it. Florida State simply got exposed. Their front 7 is extremely weak. Now, here's the kicker at that. We don't even know if their secondary is that good just because they weren't tested too much, but they may not be good either. I guess I had to wait and see there, but it's not like when Haynes King was dropping back and passing, he was having a difficult time because he was not. Here's the thing. If Florida State continues to have trouble stopping the run, they're going to have a hard time making a bowl game this year. However, I will say, give some credit to Georgia Tech. They're extremely savvy with their run plays, their motion, all that. They do an excellent job with that, and I don't think Florida State's going to play too many teams that are as good as running the football as Georgia Tech. But good gosh almighty, if I was a head coach and I had Florida State on my schedule, I would point to this film right here and say, yep, this is what we got to do. On the flip side of the ball for Florida State's offense, I know everybody's going to laugh at DJ Ugbadugi and how he's not this elite quarterback, but come on, man. We knew that 5 years ago. Florida State did struggle to run the ball, and if they can't run the ball this entire year, they're going to be in for a rough roller coaster, and I'll leave it at that. But I think their lack of run success, it stems from people don't respect their passing game. The craziest stat line ever was DJ Uyunglele in the first half was 12 for 14, and the average distance on one of his passes was negative 0.1 yards. So even when they were passing the ball against Georgia Tech, it was behind the line of scrimmage. There is some good news, though, for my Florida State fans, and this is the only good news about this game and this outcome. Season's not over. You can win out and make the playoff. With that being said, I don't think anybody is predicting Florida State to run the table from here on out, especially with how they looked yesterday. But you do have a chance, and it does help that you play in the sorry and sucky ACC. What you saw yesterday was nothing more than Florida State getting exposed for who they really are. They're not one of the big boys in college football. And the bottom line is, they never were. Last year, and I mean this in a respectable way, it was a fluke. And when I say a fluke, okay, let me clarify. You had one great year, and I give it to you. But last year was very similar to Tennessee 2 years ago. I shouldn't even call it a fluke. A better word would be an anomaly. What happened last year is not normal, but the funniest thing was Florida State fans were like, oh yeah, we're back to being a top 5 team for the next 10 years. No, that's not going to happen. Florida State got hit with a hard dose of reality, and I would say the best part about all this is Florida State fans have finally shut their mouths. Last year, all they did was whine and complain about how we should have been in the playoff. We didn't care about the Georgia game. Well, come to think about it, I guess they didn't want to be in Ireland either. There's many more things I can say. I'll end off the video here. What a way to start our 2024 college football season. Let me know your thoughts down below. But